Hi, my name is P.A. Clarke. I am a facial aesthetic specialist and pioneer in facial rejuvenation using the best products and the latest techniques to keep my patients happy. We will be talking about facial beauty and what is possible with non-surgical facial rejuvenation. At Dermaworks Med Spa, we deliver amazingly natural, life-changing results. We help you consider what's possible and work with anyone wanting to reverse the visual signs of aging. But best of all, our results last. Welcome back to Dermaworks Med Spa. My name is P.A. Clarke, and we have a wonderful guest today, Melissa. How are you doing, Melissa?
I'm good. How are you?
I am very good. It's great to see you today.
It's great to be here. It's great.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm excited to chat.
Oh, absolutely. So, one of the things I like to ask is after what you've done with us,
Yes.
how did you feel? How was the experience? What are your thoughts on what was done? Don't hold back, but let me know what you felt and think and what we could have improved upon.
So I want to start by the state I was in when I came. So when I came, I was tired. I was feeling a little defeated. I was feeling a little worn, and we had met a couple of times actually to go over things I wanted to work on. And one of the things we went with was fillers around the eyes.
Do you have any makeup on now?
No, I don't. I don't. No makeup on, and I have mascara. That does count, and brow brow gel. But we worked on it, but we took about 2 consultations to see which route we wanted to go and what I felt comfortable, and to really nail down what was making me feel kind of sad. You know, like I was just feeling the weight of coming out of COVID and a lot of life, and then we went for it. And I went home. I was staying with my parents, and we went home to visit. And I looked younger. I looked like I got sleep. I felt inspired to go for it. I felt hopeful, and that was really, really great. And then afterwards, what we had talked about during the previous consultations was doing a Botox after. Some Botox, like around the eyes. And you were very like supportive in guiding me in what the steps could be and what options I had and which way I could go about it.
You see, I love this. I don't remember any of that. You know, we see so many people that I cannot remember. So when you came today, Emanuele, you asked me what did I do on Melissa, and I had no clue what I did on Melissa. You walked in, and I'm like, did I do the cheeks, the nose? Did I do the chin? So, but that is my litmus test.
Yeah.
If I can tell what it did, it wasn't a great job. If you can see what someone did, they walk into the approach you, hey, how are you doing? And you can see, okay, the eyes or the cheeks or the lips or the chin was done. It's not a great job, right? Depending. Some people want things where others can notice that they did something as a status symbol, like the nose, for example.
Right.
But the rest of the face, not necessarily so. That's great. Yeah.
And it was the best part was that when you did tell people what you had done, their experiences weren't similar and the results weren't as similar as mine. And it was great because when I did come back, it was during the summer and fall. Everybody's like, you rested. You look fantastic. You look great. Yeah, so that was fun. That was really fun. Yeah.
Plus, you also rested and you look fantastic. Yeah. Why don't you wear makeup?
We've talked about this briefly, and you were like, because you have different clients who have different needs, right? And you were like, so how is your everyday life? Like, what do you want for yourself when you wake up? And mine is I have 2 young children, very active in their school boards and my life and family, that I just wanted to wake up and feel good. Wow. With the least minimum effort. But also I think psychologically it was like I didn't want to feel I needed things. I felt like I didn't want to get up and needed to put a face on to feel good and feel happy. I wanted to be comfortable with who I was, where I'm at, and you provided that. Yeah.
So did they do the center of the eyes or did they do the outside?
Did like around, I believe it was here. So
It was in that region.
Yeah.
So that's called the tear trough region.
Yes, that's exactly what you did. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So the tear trough region is one of the most difficult things to do in the face. And why? Because there are many different structures in relation to the tear trough. There are channels, lymphatic drainage, there are fat pads, there's muscle, flat muscles, there are ligaments that kind of really stretch and reach out from the chin and goes up into the skin and hold on to the skin. So many things are happening under the eyes that is not just a typical, simple, easy treatment. And I would bet any amount of money that most people who have issues with treatments, with filler treatments, the most difficult and the most problems they're going to have is when their practitioner treated them under the eyes.
Oh, it's the
Almost
biggest room,
always.
like error, like
It's,
for
it's
error.
there's a tremendous amount of errors that can occur if it's done. There's a tremendous amount of issues if the right product isn't used either. Remember, there is about 15 or 16 different fillers on the market in the US, and that might be maybe another, I might be off by two or so. Those fillers in the market, they're all good fillers, but there are 15 to 18 different choices of fillers. And the practitioner can't just say, well, I use this one for everyone, or I just use these two for everyone. It doesn't work like that. It really depends upon the structure of the patient's face, the fat pads, the muscles, what the muscles are doing. Are the muscles lengthening? Are they tight? Are they robust? What's the fat in the face doing? What are the ligaments doing? Ligaments are like suspension bridges. They hold the fat in place. They hold the muscle together. It's a bridge between the bone and the skin. So when we think of ligaments, we always say, well, ligaments connect bone to bone, right? In the face, it's different. It's a different world. In the face, it's more cutaneous ligaments that connect from either the fascia or the bone to the skin. And over time, those ligaments stretch and become lax. And so they're not pulling.
And that's why the face, the gravity
That's
pull.
why it comes down. So it's not that gravity is pulling the face down.
In my mind.
I know. Everyone says gravity. It's the lengthening of these ligaments that occur over time under the weight of the tissue.
Can I ask you a question? When you look at a client, because you're really good at this in curating and being very unique with your clients, is how do you know when you're studying us, right? How do you know which direction to go? Like, do you look at age? Do you feel the skin to like get that feel for what's going on with the ligaments? Because you're really good at it, and I know you study and you spend time with us. You do spend quality time with
I
us.
spend time. So to answer that question, it's spending time with the patient. If you don't spend time with the patient, if I don't spend time with you, I don't know what you really want. So listening. What language is the person speaking? Not the native language, but how is that patient speaking to you and how are you understanding that patient? So a lot of it goes back to empathy, right? If we have empathy for someone that we're speaking to, we're putting ourselves in their shoes and we're understanding their grief, their happiness, what's making them tick. When you're in that treatment room, the same thing applies. If I don't care about you, I'm not listening to you. I'm just, well, what do you want to do? You want to do your eyes? Great. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, that's what it's supposed, this is what's supposed to happen.
Right.
Do you want to do your lips? Yeah, I want to do my lips. Here's a picture of my lips. Oh, okay, I don't need to see the picture. One thing that really pisses me off is when a practitioner doesn't want to see the patient's pictures of what that patient looks like. A picture speaks 1,000 words. So if you can show me a picture on your phone from Instagram or a model, and you want to tell me these are the lips I want, I have a better understanding of what's going on in your mind than you just, okay, I'm sorry, let me put the phone down and tell you what I want. No. I find, probably going to get in trouble for this, that the older practitioners, they don't have the patience to look at your phone or your pictures to understand what you want. And therefore, many patients go and say, okay, if my phone is on and I'm looking at pictures, it's probably not a good thing. No, it's a great thing. And if your doctor, PA, nurse, or nurse practitioner doesn't want to look at your pictures, leave the office because they're not interested in what you want.
Because they feel as if you're coming in to get what they give.
Absolutely.
Right? And it's your face.
Absolutely.
Which is ironic.
Absolutely.
Right?
Diversity in medical aesthetics is huge. It goes hand in hand. Not only diversity in skin color, but diversity in tissue type, diversity in the shape and the form and what that patient is asking you for. Not everyone wants full, large Russian lips. Some patients want Russian lips, but not that large. Therefore, how would I best know unless you show me a picture that you really like? From that image, I can tell you whether your face shape will support those lips. And if you are adamant on having a particular type of lips, I can also do that as long as we're on the same page. If we're on the same page and we're speaking the same language, because your tall, wide, full is not the same as my tall, wide, full.
Right.
If you didn't grow up with me in Barbados, your thick lips isn't the same as what I would call thick lips. For me, thick lips is gigantic. Right? For some individuals that naturally have thin lips, thick lips are my lips. Yeah. So I have to have empathy in that room. I have to have the understanding of diversity in my patients in that room.
I've always said that's your curiosity.
It's a curiosity.
That's your curiosity.
Yeah.
Because you come in and you sit and you're studying. And I said this, your curiosity, your genuine interest in getting to know your patients, it releases either the fear, and then you become vulnerable. And when you become vulnerable, you can really say what you're feeling about how you're aging, right? And what's happening to you. And the best part is being in a space and in the care, I mean, from your front desk to everything, the whole environment, the whole team, is just to be allowed to go there, and to go there and to say, yeah, and to have a laugh. We have laughs about it, like what's happening, because we're all aging. No one goes without, right? Nobody goes without.
I'm putting together
right?
in the morning.
And then you share stories about your journey.
100%.
And then you're like, well, this is where we can go, and this is what we can do. And then you're even kind enough to educate me when I start to figure it out for myself. You're like, oh, but if we do that, this affects this part. Yes. So you have to take note. And it's a joyous feeling to have a partnership, to let go and explore things that can make you feel good together with technique, expertise, and it releases shame. And you just feel like you are ready for it. And just
to talk about shame a little, it's unfortunately women bear the brunt of being shamed, right? Right? Yes. You've got to look great, otherwise I'm not going to talk to you.
It has to look effortless, we're born like this, and
that's
it came with ease. Yeah.
You've got to come in through those glass doors in my office or in my company, and I have to say, oh, that's a looker, or she looks great, or I have to tell my body, oh, your employees look great. It's all about, we associate beauty and how we look with not only success in life, but we're associated with coolness and trendy stuff. And everyone needs to look a certain way if they want to be trendy. And I've always gone against the grain on that because I want to look like what I want to look like. I don't care what someone thinks I should look like. And I'll tell you, one of the shames I had, one of the issues I had, it took me a very long time to put my earrings in. A very long time. And I wanted to do it when I graduated from medical school. I wanted to, and it just didn't, because I always say, well, my patient population may not see it as professional. And I just didn't put my earrings in. And even up until the point where I started practicing medical aesthetics in 2003, 4, 5, It still took another 15 years before I decided,
You remember this? Like it's
yes,
like poignant. Like it's you.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And when I put those earrings in, I was like, these are never coming out. Never coming out. And it didn't matter if my first patient comes and say, "Oh, what did you do?" It didn't matter. I liked it. And it made me feel the way I want to feel. And that's what mattered. But if I don't understand that, I don't have the empathy for someone who's telling me the same story, but in relation to the chin or the nose or the cheeks or the eyebrows.
And I was gonna say is like even when you bring up Instagram and you bring up like the current culture of beauty or what it's perceived to be, right? Like in media, is that you it's interesting because you don't get anywhere alone. Nowhere alone. Like even if you have good skincare, someone made creams for you, you write about sunblock, you drink water, you get influenced on things, right? And for me, the best part of aging and coming into that is one, being comfortable with myself, finding people who want to celebrate me for who I am, and the team, right? And the products that see you and enjoying that. And then I feel like you even look better and giving, what's the word, like props and acknowledgement to those that make you feel good. And I feel love more of what you love and don't care about what you fear. Like what you love matters more than what you fear. And I love everything that makes me feel good. And
you should never be shamed.
no, and Diamond Med Spa does that for me. It does. And I have seen other, practitioners. I've had things done. I started in my 30s, and I felt when I went there, one, someone got the chart wrong. They got the wrong Melissa. Yeah. And we realized that when he was working on my forehead, and I went for the frown, like this part area. So he apologized, but I just realized you are one in 50 that come by the door. And it's like, let's get it done, like a gas stop, basically, like you're a gas station. Let's load up, and then I'll see you. And if you need more, just call me, and I can tweak you. I can give you a sprinkle. And I just felt like this is probably not the best way to age with this type of relationship, right?
I always say it is not standard medicine. Medical aesthetics is a specialty on its own. Hopefully, one day it will be, but it's not standard medicine. Standard medicine comes with protocols. You walk into the doctor's office, one eye is red. What were you in contact with? What was the environment that you were in? Has it happened in the past? Does anyone in the family has it? Have you been around anyone else with red eyes? Do you have allergies? These are the protocols. If all the answers are no or a few answers are yes, you move on to the next step. The next step is trying some antibiotics to see if that helps the issue or something for irritated eye if you're leaning toward that. If that fails, then you step up the antibiotics. Maybe you send for culture testing if it's something that's persistent and could be detrimental to the patient. So those are all of the protocols that medicine have. In medical school, as a physician associate, what I learned was how to consult, diagnose, and treat patients. Period. Medical aesthetics have a second tier or another tier. That tier is, how do I make this patient feel the way they want to feel? Using the tools I have. How do I use the best tools possible for this patient to have a very good outcome? Now, one thing is a very profitable field. I don't know one practitioner who doesn't want to do medical aesthetics because they think they can make a little bit more money.
Right.
But the proof is in the pudding. You can make more money, however, you work for that. And therefore, if you're only seeing 5, 8 patients a day, eventually you can become good at what you're doing, but you're never going to be close to the person seeing 20 people a day. I mean, it's exhausting when they see 18 to 23 people a day. It's exhausting. But what it is that even after 20 years, I'm still learning. I'm still learning. So we don't have the protocols in medicine as a medical aesthetics. That's why nurses can perform it, nurse practitioners, physician associates, MDs, surgeons can perform it. There's no curriculum in medical school for medical aesthetics. So here we have cardiology. Next, we're going to have neurology. And now we're going to have pharmacology. And finally, medical aesthetics. No, there's no medical aesthetics. So you learn it after you finish school. So it doesn't matter how long your practitioner or your surgeon has been practicing medicine. What matters is, when did they start practicing medical aesthetics? Because not every surgeon used Botox up until 2010. Many surgeons still didn't use Botox or fillers in their office or threads in their office.
It's whether they were interested in it, right?
It's whether they were interested. But here's the problem. Not only because you're interested in it that you do it. If your patient comes to you and you want to have your eyes done, but I'm not interested in it, but you want it, how can I still do it for you because I'll make a little bit more? I'm not saying every practitioner's this way. What I'm saying is medical aesthetics needs the respect that it garners. Part of that is listening to the patient and becoming good at your craft. Stradivarius, for example, and the violins, right? He made violins, what is it, 1400s? I cannot remember, don't quote me. But his violins are still worth hundreds of thousands, if not over millions today. Why is his violins worth that much? Did he make all of the violins? No, he had apprentices. So understanding the craft, doing the craft as best as you can, allows you to reproduce that over and over again. So his apprentices, Stradivarius, made many violins, but they're labeled Stradivarius. So we don't know whether he himself put his hands on it or whether it was his apprentices that put their hands. Doesn't matter. The same quality was there. So when someone has a weekend course and now they're a Botox aficionado, there's a problem. There's a breakdown in medicine if that happens. In one weekend, there are many companies that they promote teaching for one weekend, and then they're sending people out and they ruin people's faces. And not only that, but one of my other pet peeves, I have so many, one of my other pet peeves is that the training that they're having is so rudimentary. It was the same training that I had in 2003 and 4 that's still being taught in many of these medical training institutes. I can't name the names, but they're some of the biggest names online. Just Google Botox training and you just pay a handsome fee and now you're a Botox expert after a few weekends.
What are the questions, not that we want to send people to see the practitioner, but what are the questions that people look for to weed that out? Like I mean, you stuck out amongst, my past, like when I would get procedure injectables, was because you gave time and your curiosity and your interest and your delight in like meeting the patient in this like journey of like, okay, well, where are we going to go with this? Right. And then you finding out that you're natural, right? Like you're like, and and you're like, what do you would even ask like what shows you watch and like,
yeah,
right. To see where your mind's at, like what gets you. And then I'm like, this is different. And the best part is walking out and you saying, think about it. That's what fascinated me, because I do feel that in the past it was, let me go get the Botox, let me go get the filler or, the Botox, and I'm going to come back, and they would lay it out and they would be like, okay, so how many are we going to do? And then they talk to you about like, this is 14, this is 15. And it was so strange, but that was the common practice. And with you,
I didn't talk to you about numbers and units and how many ounces of paint you're going to need to paint your house. No, all we spoke about was the journey and the final result. Here's what we did. Here's how it's going to be.
You come to the fix and you're like, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then you would bring the iPad and you show everything. And the what I found very I felt like we had a partnership in this journey was when you came in with the Dysport filler, right? Is that the right?
Dysport.
Yeah. You came in and you're like, I want to show you this. So this is the box. And, I know life is long. We all want to have a long life. And you said, if you go to see someone else, one thing I want you to do for yourself is please make sure that they bring out the box. There's
Very
a lot.
important.
Yeah. You were like, I want them to bring out the box. And
Don't remember that, but
you were saying, but that's how genuine it was, right? You just, and you're like, and this is how you know that it's authentic. Because then you're like, there's knockoffs. I guess you were feeling free that day. And you open it. And I'm like, okay. And you're like, so this is what it is. And this is everything. So I'm educating you this because I want you to be able to take care of yourself if you don't come back. And I was like, wow. Like, you have someone who's on this with you and wants what's the best for you. And that's when I started to realize, you know, we've spoken about threads in the future and different things, and I can sit with you and talk to you. And I wanted to do this podcast because I want people to know it's fantastic to be alive. It's fantastic to age. Yeah. And it's amazing to have a partnership who wants you to feel good, look good, and be yourself.
Thank you.
It takes shame away, it takes it away. Like, I've had it, I'm in my 40s, it took it away. Like, I just feel like more celebratory in my age, in my life, and I'm like, let's go do this, let's go do that.
I do fillers on myself. I mean, I haven't come across anyone I trust enough to do fillers for me, so I do it myself. Painstakingly slow, it's torturous, it's, you know, every time I treat myself with Dysport or fillers, I think of Rambo and that scene. You know, when he jumped off the cliff, he fell into the trees, and he took that knife out, and he's like, I've got to cut this. That's how I feel, because it's really painful, and your toes curl, and you still got to keep going. But I did, and I treated my cheek mandibular angle. Right? Wow. It's not something that you hear now, so I don't want to divulge too much. But I treated that, and I restored the natural width in my face. So what you're seeing now in my face, this is what I created in October.
Oh, really?
So this isn't what natural aging is. I am almost 50. So this isn't natural aging. Because there's nothing we put in our body that's natural, right? Not even the water you drink is natural.
Or the vegetables that we grow, right?
Or the vegetables. Yeah. There's nothing that's natural. But if everything we had around us was natural, we'd be all dead and extinct. Right? The most natural thing you can think about is what? The sun.
Yes.
That thing will kill you. Just go in the sun, spend 8 hours a day. After 30 years, come and show me what you look like. I'm like, first we need a fire hydrant to rehydrate you and blow you back up from that raisin. But this is what the sun does. And you can't get more natural than that. Yeah. We have to protect ourselves from the sun. We have to protect ourselves from other things that age us. There's something called telomeres. Telomeres are the ends of the chromosomes within the cells that dictate cell sustenance, right? When the cell is going to die, when we're going to die, when we're going to slow down. So there's science behind that that's trying to re-engineer or change that. There's nothing natural about that. But if they succeed, then we can live longer, healthier. There's nothing natural about that. So everyone uses the word natural, but I don't believe it's natural that they mean to say. If someone wants treatments, I believe they want more graceful aging. They want an approach or treatment that keeps them looking the way they are, just better, like much better. Because we all see ourselves as superstars, and we all are. I mean, come on, look at some of the reality shows. I'm not going to name any, but we all see ourselves as superstars. And I always say, there's someone for everyone. So don't ever look at someone and say, oh my God.
That's walking the streets of New York. You know that by heart. Yes. Like, that's why you love the city, because you're like, there's someone for everybody. Right.
Some people may
all are welcome.
That's right. Some people may see me and say, what is he? You know, but what I feel about myself and how I feel about myself and what I see in myself dictates how I treat my wife, my kids, my friends, my employees, how I treat my patients. When you look in the mirror and you don't necessarily love or you feel like you're losing something that was there, and your husband or wife comes by and say, oh, I noticed a little gray. Oh, you will rip his head off, right? And the day just goes on like that. We are in a very visual society. Everything is about what looks, and we can't change it.
You brought this up when we were talking about age, right? You were like, so if you don't feel good or look good, and you go for you go for those like flannel PJs, like we had this conversation.
I remember, but it sounds funny.
But we were like,
Yeah.
but we were talking about how that you feel. Oh, we were talking about your brothers and the aging, right? And how much younger you look, and how that
I
really
hope they're not listening.
and
Yeah.
how that really influences how you approach life, right?
Yeah.
So, because I was there and I was starting the treatments, and he's like, as you age, you want to feel like you still got it, and that's like looking yourself in the mirror, and that's like maybe instead of going for those flannel PJs, you get
That's
some
right.
really nice
That's
PJs,
right. You get that-
you know, like the nice
get that
two-piece, and you're
silk
like,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're like,
Yeah.
and we were talking about how you have to like infuse that in your life.
Yes, and invigorate. Another thing is, guys, you find guys. I don't know how we think. I don't get it. You find some guy. They have to have the best car or the best house. They're redesigning, redecorating the kitchen and the bathroom and the yard and the pavement, and they buy new rims for the cars and all this, and they look like. I mean, come on. Okay, it's nice to have nice things, but don't you want to match the nice things you have? Don't you want to look better than the Gucci belt you're wearing? Don't you want to look better than the house that you're living in?
Or you want to look like that you take care of yourself,
Or
because
that
when
you take care of yourself.
going back to what you said, when you do care for yourself and you have self-love and you genuinely do that, you want to be around those people.
Absolutely.
And usually men tend to do that to place themselves in a place and have a certain type of partner. I'm not saying I know that answer, but
Right.
I get that impression. And if you really want that really good partner, take care of yourself, because you're going to get the right type of person who's going to take care of themselves and you, right?
Yeah, you get what you put out.
Yeah.
And if you put out, if you, and I've made this analogy to so many people.
It's so
and-
much
and-
more
and
rewarding
some-
to take care of yourself than to buy things.
than to buy things.
Yeah.
I mean, I've made this analogy, and some people don't necessarily love it, but if you decide to come to work and your shirt is wrinkled, that's a decision you made to present yourself as kind of nonchalant, not caring. It is what it is. Right? Your shirt is wrinkled. It doesn't look that great. No, I'm taking money out of the equation.
Okay.
Because there's a cost factor.
Okay.
There's still some things you can do.
Yeah.
So instead of buying the $1,500 phone, sometimes there are other things you can do with that priority list in terms of investing and so forth. But we all have certain priorities that we put upon ourselves. So if you come to work with your wrinkled shirt, that's the choice you made to present yourself and represent that company looking like that. If there's something as simple as using a little bit of Dysport, a little bit of Restylane, some Juvederm, or some Botox, I understand these are cost factors, and I really think that employers give your employees a budget and use that as a benefit for them to present themselves well, to represent your company. I think employers should give incentives and benefits. Here, you have a $500 or a $1,000 beauty enhancement or beauty rejuvenation, or whatever you want to call it. You have this that you can use for the year. And if every employer, and I guarantee you that most employers can afford this, if they can give that, then their employees, not that they don't look bad, but what I'm saying, they look enhanced, they look rejuvenated, which also positively adds to the business they're working for. So we represent where we work and what we are around based upon how we take care of ourselves. So if one of my employees doesn't represent the company well, I want to take steps for them to do it, but not by shaming them, but by giving them the opportunity to do what is necessary. Now, yes, some people have to put food on the table as opposed to Botox and Dysport. There are many different scenarios, and I don't claim to know all of the answers, but I will say that there are many avenues you can take, and only the squeaky wheel gets the oil. Meaning that only if employees speak up to the employers, then maybe some of the employers, as an incentive, would give their employees a budget, a beauty budget. Let's call it beauty budget. That's my. You can use it, but let's give it beauty budget. So hey, Mr. Whomever.
You know who should actually do that is
Yeah.
beauty companies.
Not
Because-
only,
well,
but every company I
know
feel.
every company, but to go with what they're promoting, because the truth is every ad that a beauty product sells, to perfume, to makeup, to
Beautiful
cream,
person.
but not only that, there's tons of photoshopping.
Yeah.
I mean, there's an industry that thrives off of that. So my thing is that if you're going to present that and that's your product and that's how you're going to make your revenue and your money and, live your dream, then offer that to the employees that are working very hard to make that machine work, right?
That's right, to make that machine work. I always say, take care of the people who take care of you.
And
Have-
you know the beauty industry. They should do it though. They really do.
They really
do
should.
it. They should really-
But on saying that, I think every single company, the bagel shop, every company can do it because
They would probably be the happiest, but if they wanted it,
They'd be the happiest.
because it's a preference.
yes,
thing, right?
Some people may not even care what the wages is. What's my beauty budget? They say, okay, sign me up. I'll work for you for 5 years. It happens. Empathy. Besides everything else, this world needs a little bit more empathy. And there's a sign that says I have to wrap up, so I'll wrap up a little bit, but there's going to be a lot more to come. And I am with Melissa, and I have having such a great time. I'm definitely going to have her back here. But empathy. Melissa, you look great. I can't tell what I did, which means that I am very happy, and I can see you're very happy.
Right.
And you remind me of some of the conversations I had that I don't have a clue I had, but which is genuine. And I love you for that. And thank you so much for being on the show with me
It's a
today.
pleasure. Always a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you so much.